So once you finish painting, obviously the next step for airbrushing is that you need to clean your brush. And this is generally one of the most frustrating things that you have to go through. But trust me, you get better and better at it, and it becomes second nature the more you do it. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to clean out this particular brush, which is the Iwata Takumi, the Micron. If you have a different brush, that's fine. The tips that you'll pick up in this video will apply to all your other airbrushes that you own. So the first thing I like to do when I finish using my airbrush is I save the paint that I've just used. Now obviously this isn't always going to be possible. It depends on what kind of paint you are using. In my case, I'm using an indigo blue by Trident, and I've already got a pre-mixed bottle which I've labeled with my 70% reducer 30% paint mix, and that's the color that I was running in my Takumi. Lift off the lid, you can see I've got a tiny little bit of paint left. What I'm going to do is pour that back into this bottle. Even though it's a little bit, you don't want to waste paint. It's expensive stuff to buy, so make sure that you keep whatever you don't use. Don't just chuck it out. If the paint has been compromised, like maybe you've mixed it with some sort of product that'll make the paint go hard, then obviously you have to throw it out. But I wouldn't recommend that you utilize those sort of products in an airbrush anyway, and that's why I love using these Trident empty bottle sets. They have the marble already in them, and of course the 50ml size. That way if you're displaying these colors with your collection of labeled paints, then they're going to all match up nicely in your paint cabinet. And once you've saved your paint, what I like using is a squirty bottle. This is just like a sauce bottle. You can get it from anywhere. I think I picked this one up from Kmart, and it's just filled with regular water to clean out my brush. If you have really stubborn blockages or paint stains on your brush, then you can use something like this airbrush cleaner. You will have to thin this down, and you can see that the mixing ratio is 1 part cleaner and 9 parts bottled water. I've tried it with regular tap water and it also works just fine, so totally up to you. But when you do use this product, make sure that you wear some sort of dust mask because it is quite fumy, so you don't want to go breathing that in. Same as if you use window cleaner and water, then be careful of that too. And I'm just using one of the basic tabletop cleaning stations. You can get really nice ones from Iwata with like a rubber rim around it so it doesn't slide around. The Iwata filters do actually fit within this model, so this is the NAC 211, which looks like this. And the reason I've got it in this tray is that when I start flushing through here, water's going to go everywhere, and rather than it spreading out on the bench, I just grab myself just a cheap plastic tray. You can get that from any of those $2 shops. I know it doesn't look pretty, but it serves the purpose. And you can see I've taken that little holder thing off here as well. I don't like that. That was always in the way. The other thing I like to have handy are just some baby wipes. Now put your airbrush in here carefully. That needle's still exposed. I can always put the air cap back on, which is probably a good idea, but I won't do it for this demo because I want to show you the cleaning process and how that needle goes in and out. Right, so now put water through the color cup, and then we need to pull back on the trigger. You can see it's moving quite slowly, but if I pull this out, you can see there is quite a bit of product going in there, and you'll know if your filter's buggered because the excess will just come out of there. So blast it out a couple of times and then remove your handle. Just sit that down, loosen the nut on the needle, and then pull the needle out carefully, and now you'll see that level is going to go down a lot quicker. If I pull it out, that's going full throttle now. That's really blasting out, which is great. So now be careful not to drop your trigger out now because that can easily fall out. You really want to give this a nice clean. While that's in there, I'm going to get my baby wipe and just come in with the baby wipe and just clean that out, and then we'll remove the cup. We can clean that a bit more. Now this is one of the main things that I like to do is flush through the back of the airbrush. A lot of people don't know this, but the paint, after you paint for a while, and especially if you get a blockage, paint can actually travel right up the back. I mean, look at this needle, for instance. I'll just leave this here for a sec. So you can see on that needle, just from the tiniest bit of painting, I haven't done much at all on this. I just painted doing a demo for the unboxing video, which I'll link up in the description as well. But it's only probably about, I don't know, 5 minutes of painting, and there's already paint that's building up on that needle that far back. So you got to watch it because that can keep traveling and traveling. And if you don't flush through the back, then eventually it'll jam. So always flush through the back. That's for any airbrush. You can see why now I have this tray underneath. And then with the side feed, you can see I've got that little hole there where the color cup was sitting. So I'll just tilt that sideways and flush through there as well. And the microns also have a small cutaway there, so I just flush through there as well. If you want to really clean that out, just some really fine denture brushes will get in there nicely. The Iwata cleaning kit is super helpful for that, as well as the maintenance tool kit. They're both great to own if you wish to correctly clean your brush. So now when cleaning a needle, wipe away. Alright, don't wipe in the other direction because you could either stab yourself or bend the needle. And trust me, these micron needles are super sharp. I've actually had one go into the side of my leg once and it wasn't very pleasant at all. It went in about that deep. Okay, I'm happy with that. Needle's nice and clean. Now I need to reinsert it, and very carefully, so press down on the trigger. I just like to get in that habit because the needle is passing through there, and push it until it can't go any further. Like, you don't want to really put a lot of force into it because then you could flare the nozzle. You can see how fine that needle is. So you want to make sure that it's just pushed all the way forward. And once you've got it into that position, just give it a slight nudge just to seat it. And this is the most important thing. Make sure that you tighten this locking nut. This is why I wanted to leave the air cap off, to show you that when you pull back, that needle has to move back and forth. If you go ahead and clean it all out and you forget to tighten that, then you'll put paint in and you'll pull back on the trigger and you can see the needle isn't moving, therefore no paint can come out. So that always has to be tightened once you've cleaned your airbrush and you're ready to go. Now I'm going to unscrew the air cap off the handle. Now that's not a feature on every single brush. The Iwata microns do have that feature, which is handy because you won't lose the crown cap or the air cap. They call it a crown cap because of the shape of it. And then just a little bit of extra cleaning for the lid. Again, using the wet wipe or the baby wipe, whatever you want to call it, give that a good clean. Paper towel works as well, but I do like using the baby wipes because they're already got a little bit of wetness to them, so it just makes it a bit easier. And now just going back in and cleaning all of that. And with the color cup, you can actually unscrew this part here and make sure that all this is clean. You can see that's still a bit dirty. So again, getting the wet wipe in there, give that a nice clean, and same in here. Doesn't take much. If you keep it spotless, it's pretty easy to keep it clean, and then that just screws on. You could also get a denture brush in there, no problem, just to clean any of the paint if it's stuck in that channel there. You can see the difference in size compared to the previous model. This is the original CMSB but fitted with the Blair short trigger, and this one has the bit that unscrews under here, and this is probably going to be dirty. Haven't cleaned this in a while. That's not too bad. Now putting the handle back on, it just screws back. I love to have the cutaway handle like so that that doesn't catch on my skin, and twisting that back on. Then refit the rubber protector, and there you have it. The airbrush is completely cleaned out. So to continue your learning, be sure to check out some of the other videos and playlists that I've got listed here. And until next time, go grab your airbrush, do some amazing artwork yourself, and I'll see you again very, very soon in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.